What's up? This is Joshua, MVA Studio, Minneapolis. I want to follow up the video about the funnel with another kind of rule of the design process. And this is something I've noticed kind of recently, but I think it holds fairly true. And this to me is like a measure of whether a process is working. All things being equal, each successive stage of the design process should be easier than the step before. And that might seem really counterintuitive. If you've worked on a project, let's say the way I used to work. So you kick off a project, you have an idea in the meeting maybe, but then you drive home and you're thinking about the project, and then you've got an idea that you think is the right solution to the project. Just right off the bat, you have this idea. You're like, okay, cool. Maybe the idea is so good, you let yourself procrastinate for a couple days. Then you go to work on it. It's not really turning into the thing that you want it to. Maybe it's taking longer than you want, so all of a sudden it's been like a solid day and the idea hasn't really come to fruition. So then the next day you're like, you know what, I just need to simplify it. And so then you try to do this like simplified version. That's not really working. So then you're like, you know what, maybe, you know what, I'm gonna do some research, just get the juices flowing. You do some research, you immediately get an idea, you try another thing, so on and so forth. Finally, maybe at the very last minute you have an idea, or maybe you just double down on everything that you've done, and that's what you show the client. In that process, nothing has gotten easier. Every single step is just as difficult as the step before, potentially even more difficult, because the longer you go without a viable solution, the more stressed out you are. Or maybe you even do the thing where when you're at the client presentation, you're kind of hoping that it will be open in such a way that you can kind of redo it. Like maybe it's gone that badly, which means that the next phase, it still won't get easier. That's an example of a design process in which it does not get easier over the course of the project. And maybe the struggle with the creative part of it means you actually didn't get to do other kinds of research that potentially opens you up to further struggles into the process, whether it's with the printers or with execution or installation or proofing or whatever. But in that process, things are not getting easier. So for the process to get easier, each step has to build on the last so that they logically lead to the next one. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, what does it take for the presentation deck to be an absolute breeze? Well, it requires that the comps or the versions that you've made are great. Like, okay, cool. Great comps, great deck. Takes care of itself. But what does it take to make a great comp? And I use comp in place of design because the way that I see it, whatever I show the client should be unfinished. So I refer to it as a comp, I don't refer to it as a design. So just for clarification. So if you want to have that great deck, you need great comps. Well, what do you need to do then to make great comps? Great sketches. What leads to great sketches? Great concepts. How do you end up with great concepts? Great ideation process, the development of insights, or using bed no diagrams. What leads to great ideas? Great analysis of your research. Like, you have to find stuff to talk about. And then lastly, obviously, if you're going to have great analysis of the research, what do you have to have? You have to have great, rich, robust research. Now, maybe for a lot of people, the idea would be that research seems easiest, right? You just read and you look at stuff and you listen to stuff and you make lists. But knowing what to read, what to capture, ensuring that you have all the time, it's actually the hardest step. Because on some levels, it's really easy to blow a lot of time doing non-productive research if you don't know what you're doing. So that research phase is ultra important because it's garbage in, garbage out. If the research sucks, Anything after that is a crapshoot. It's all luck. But if the research is solid and you know what to do with it, analysis, that shit's gonna be golden. That's how you create a process where it gets easier. Like, I literally think that the part that used to be the hardest for me, the like designing of the thing, should be an absolute breeze. I should have a killer sketch, and it should be fully thought out in the sketch, and then the computer is just to make it pretty. If it's not getting easier and it's not actually more fun as it goes on, because easy things can be kind of fun, then I know that I'm doing something wrong. Like, if I can't come up with an idea, the answer is not I have creative block. The answer is I either didn't do enough research or I didn't do anything with the research. And that's a pretty simple idea. I hope that it makes sense. If you want clarification or further clarification, leave a comment. Thanks a lot for watching.